You know, there are some filmmakers from California in our neck of the woods shooting a horror film called The Crawling movie. One of the producers of the film hails from West Michigan, and he's convinced the crew that we've got some talents here in West Michigan to share. Ryan March is his name. He's right here. He joins us with the film's producer, Nick D'Audio, as well. Nick, Ryan, thank you for being here. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
A horror movie. I love this genre. Absolutely do. Why in Michigan? Why are we filming this here, Ryan?
You know, when we first came up with this concept, there was a couple different areas we were looking at. We were looking at maybe Albuquerque, New Mexico, or like an isolated cabin up in Northern California. And I have some connections here in Michigan, being from the area, and I had access to a beautiful 35-acre farm in Jackson. And I floated that idea to my co-producer and the director, and they saw some pictures, and they said, that's it, we're going to do it there.
So it was the setting. We've got the look.
It was the setting, and we're familiar with your crews here, very experienced, very professional. So you had a lot going here. There was no incentive here, but there are many other things that brought us here.
Let's talk about that, Nick. I'm so glad you brought that up, because for a while there, that's all we were talking about here in West Michigan. People might remember the film incentives that were bringing a lot of Hollywood to our neck of the woods. Is that ever going to return?
It's going to return, I'm confident. Look, I mean, we all know what it was like from 2005 to 2012 when all of the big studio movies were here because they were incentivized to come here. And, you know, for us shooting movies in Los Angeles and down in Georgia, and I've got 2 movies going in Western New York right now with very generous incentives from the state. And, you know, for us, I'm part of the grassroots movement to try to bring the film incentives back to Michigan. We almost passed it this last election cycle. I do believe we will cross that goal line, but I think it's going to take projects like this coming here, you know, independently of these incentives and putting hundreds of thousands of dollars into the local economy for, I think, you know, the powers that be to really see that this is a worthwhile endeavor.
Absolutely. I mean, that was always the discussion, was, you know, the return on your investment and all that, but the arts putting money into what we're seeing. Let's talk about this film. Let's talk about I mean, I don't want to give too much away. You guys are starting shooting next week. I mean, this is really the beginning, the genesis of this film. Can we share a little bit about the plot line? Oh, yeah, Nick really doesn't want to tell me anything about it. He really does. Okay, how about just in general terms? I mean, the name of it is The Crawling, so all I can picture is something like The Ring, and or people coming at me like...
You're not too far off. So it's the little bit that we can share is that it's a horror movie. It takes place in an isolated location, way out in the middle of nowhere, which is why we're shooting in Jackson, Michigan, in the middle of nowhere. And it surrounds, let's just say, a non-human interaction between a young married couple out on a vacation.
A non-human interaction with a married... Nick, you seem like you want to add something.
A little horror, a little psychological thriller.
Okay.
You don't know exactly what's going on until you know. And then it reveals itself. It's like, okay. But even so, you're still not fully aware right up until the end. So it delivers a nice punch at the end, and then you have to go back and say, what just happened?
So, am I going to be going back and saying, oh my gosh, he was dead the whole time? Is it going to be one of those types of things? The Sixth Sense type of reveal?
There's something like that.
I love those types of twists and those things. So, I mean, you guys are playing it up well. I'm really intrigued. I want to see what the big twist is going to be. When is it going to be screened? Do we have a date? Do we know?
So, like you said, we start shooting on Monday, and we'll wrap, you know, the second week of September.
Okay.
And then, you know, the post-production process will take its time. I would like to think that we can have something ready to screen probably by mid to late fall, early holiday season time.
Of this year?
Of this year,
okay.
but realistically, this is the type of movie that from a distribution standpoint, probably won't come out until, you know, October of next year for the Halloween kind of scary season, or it could be, you know, a summer release as well.
Okay.
So all of that kind of lies in the hands of the distributors and the streaming networks, and, you know, the theatrical releases if that plays into it.
Well, I'm sure obviously you're shooting, so you've cast this, but is there any room? I'm sure locals, whenever there's a film around, they're like, you looking for extras? You know?
Well, we are casting locally. We have not finalized the local casting, so there is some room on there for Michigan. And in fact, most of our cast will be from Michigan.
Excellent. So we're hiring local. We've got a local producer right here from what, Portage area?
I'm from Portage, so I was, you know, I'm pretty well connected down in Portage, having grown up there, and I'm very aware of the talent that exists down there, being involved in, you know, local community theater growing up and in the arts, and so I convinced these guys to let me reach out to the Farmers Alley Theater down in Kalamazoo, and the artistic director down there, and I have had some great dialogue over the last couple of months, and so he has kind of played as our de facto local casting director and has put a number of very, very talented actors into our wheelhouse. So we've been able to bring on 3 or 4 very talented local actors, and we're really excited to have them.
As we are, and I'm sure anyone watching this is probably going to be like, now I know who to call in case I wanted to try to work my way into a film. We're excited. Thank you, Ryan, for convincing the West Coast to come to the Third Coast, to come over here to Michigan and shoot some films. And best wishes, we fully support this mission you have to bring those incentives back and to have the filmmaking come back to Michigan. Thanks for the time this morning.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Absolutely. Details on your screen. If you want to follow along with the crawling and stay up to date on the movie production, who knows? Maybe you'll get a tip and find yourself in a film. You can always go to @StrangeWater or all the social media channels right there on your screen. We'll have links to them at fox17morningmix.com. We'll be right back.